Okay, as we move forward in the third step, which will be surrounded about developing solutions, we'll go ahead and slip through these slides so you can get a little bit more information. Solutions is plural for a reason. One thing is not a solution. Solutions are multiple things for the end user or client to look at so that they have a choice. It's kind of like going to the store. If you only had one pair of pants to choose from, the world would be really kind of boring. Everybody'd have the same pants on, and it would not be empathetic to the individual wants and needs of the people shopping for pants. So, with this in mind, you have to develop multiple solutions, and you have to keep in mind that it's only a solution if your design meets all of the wants and needs of the end user or client. And the way you can make sure that occurs is if you developed a really, really good, clear, and actionable problem statement. Then you listed all the I must do this, I must do that in order to meet that person's needs. Pardon me. When you go to the store, we already talked about that, so let's skip on. Your solutions have to solve all of the needs, and you will be showing these solutions to your end user for feedback. So if it doesn't describe and account for everything, with labeling, documentation, dimensions, maybe coloring, pictures, specifications, detail. You have to be able to, think if you were buying a car from somebody and the only information you had was it was a Chevy. It could be anything. It could be a Cavalier, or it could be a Camaro, or it could be a Malibu. It could be white, blue, red, green. Without detail, would you just buy the car sight unseen because it's a Chevy? And if you say you would, I'm pretty sure you're kind of pulling somebody's chain a little bit, because you would want to know, how many miles does the tires, work, or that maybe all the tires are flat, maybe it won't start. You have to be informed before you can make a decision. So with this in mind, let's kind of skip over here to the Word document for a minute. Here's a really good picture, and I showed you earlier, of this little cupboard that would go into a kitchen. This is not, and I repeat, is not a solution. It's a picture of a cupboard, and we could go in a little bit further. Here's a type of chair, a chase. It has a scale on it, and I know it's blurry, but, it's just a quick grab. Has all the measurements. This is not a solution. And the reason it's not a solution is there's multiple reasons. A, we don't know the angles that were used to attach the chair. B, we don't know what the product was made of. C, it's definitely the wrong scale, so it wouldn't work for me and what you're designing for. D, is this the type of chair that would be found in the primitive setting of the 19th century in a log cabin, or an old kind of ranch-style homestead that somebody might have made on their own? You've got to clarify why you chose the solution, what it looks like, what it's going to look like when it's finished, the colors, how everything's going to be attached, put together. If it's printed as one solid piece, hey, that's okay, but let me know that it's printed as one solid piece. And you need all the specifications, because the reality is the distance from like right here where I have this little mouse to here is pretty much common and has been since the dawn of time. And if you don't know what that is, I'll know you're not designing for a doll that's anatomically correct, or at least within reason designed like a real human being. So you've got to give me detail. lots and lots of detail, so that I don't have to ask questions. Well, are you going to do this? Are you going to do that? Every one of my wants and needs somewhere on your solution should be pointed out. For example, if I said I wanted this to be, ergonomically correct from this distance to this distance, when you ask me a question, then you would show that, the chair is this height because this is the common height of chairs that have been developed since the dawn of time, whatever. But you've got to be able to argue and explain to me. You are the expert. You have to become that expert, and you can't skimp on these types of projects. You've got to get in there deep and do the work. It will take you some time. If you think it can be done in 5 minutes and you be successful, you're either really, really, really inept at this, you're a genius and you've done it hundreds and hundreds of times, or you've probably cheated me and yourself a little bit. So don't do that. As always, if you got any questions, first look at the directions, make sure you're doing the correct thing. Secondly, make sure that you contact me. I can't read minds, but I'm willing to help you. If you ask me specific questions, I'll give you a specific response. Thanks for watching, and good luck with this step.